We failed you. University boss offers humbling apology as he reveals fears of violent on-campus outbreak. Are you starting to regret not de-radicalizing these psychopaths when you had the chance? In fact, most of you radicalized them. Vice Chancellor of the University of Sydney, Mark Scott, has apologized for the unacceptable anti-Semitism experienced by Jewish staff, students, and alumni during an 8-week pro-Palestine encampment protest. Speaking to a Senate inquiry into anti-Semitism on campus, Professor Scott said it was unacceptable that Tiny Hat students and staff were made to feel unsafe during this period and that both he and the university had failed them. Yeah, you know what never happened when the quote-unquote alt-right Nazis were all the rage to hate against? They never took over the campus and made Tiny Hat students and staff be fearful for their lives. Now you're starting to experience what real Nazis are. So I've read the complaints that have been made to the university and those shared in the submissions to this inquiry and the special envoy, and the testimonials are heartbreaking and unacceptable. For that, I am sorry. No one should feel at risk, unsafe, or unwelcome at any place of learning. No one should feel the need to hide their identity or stay away from classrooms or campuses. This is easily avoidable by staying away from college altogether. Pro-Palestinian Nazi encampments flooded the university's quadrangle in April, remaining for about 8 weeks before they were ordered to evacuate. Well, is this just like Chaz? Did they screw with the mayor's house or something? And then, all right, that's enough. Professor Scott said it was a difficult period for the university and admitted that the university's response did not meet the expectations of the community. No one should be surprised by this. I mean, this is just their own attack dogs coming they're just coming home to roost, man. For one, I regret we did not communicate the agreements to end the encampment with the Tiny Hat community before it was announced. Well, you should have been committed to ending it as just a matter of course the moment it sprung up. But this would be resolved if they just expelled everyone involved. This would not be a problem. I realize there's a lot of work to do to win back the trust and confidence of the university's Tiny Hat community, and I'm committed to doing that. Prove it. What are you going to do with your actions to show how serious you are? Under questioning about why the university didn't intervene earlier, Professor Scott said he had looked into international comparisons at campuses in the U.S. and believed acting soon would have risked inflaming the situation. You do not want to use the U.S. as an example of how to do this right, you know. He said there were fears that there would be a dramatic escalation in tension and the risk of a violent outbreak if the university called in riot police to disperse the protesters. So after you disperse them, expel them. That's what you got to do, and then trespass them if they come back. In the wake of the protest, Professor Scott said the university had now banned encampments and had commenced an independent review of relevant policies and processes. This was a complex, fast-moving environment where we were meeting daily and making multiple decisions based on the best information we had available at the time and taking advice of experts, particularly the police and security agencies. This should be easy, but I don't feel sorry for them. I really don't. College is pretty much ground zero for a lot of this woke garbage. They are the ones that trained and bred these activists to behave the way they do. So the fact that their own attack dogs are turning on them, I just find this hilarious. Well, better than turning on innocent people that aren't them. I do get every decision right during this time. There are clearly different views on that. I recognize it would not always meet the expectations of the Tiny Hat community. However, the opposition's indoctrinational spokeswoman, Sarah Henderson, said Professor Scott had failed in his leadership and questioned why he hadn't banned camping on the campus and removed the encampments earlier. Although she did not call for Professor Scott's resignation, she later told reporters that the university's review was too little too late. So whether he continues in his role is a matter for him, but I do believe that he has fundamentally failed not just the Tiny Hat students and staff of the university, but all students, she said. Now, this is also true because even though the Tiny Hats were apparently the main target, these Nazis shut down the school altogether for the most part. Imagine paying for an education and then having to deal with this BS. Yeah, I came here to fucking learn. I didn't come here to play games with you. Earlier on Friday, the university was singled out by Australasian Union of Tiny Hat Students Vice President Zachary Morris as probably one of the worst places to be a Tiny Hat student. Staying the campus has been problematic for a long time. But you weren't saying anything about it because you were on the quote-unquote same side up until the Nazis turned on you, huh? Senator Henderson, who introduced the coalition's bill to create a judicial inquiry into the anti-Semitism on campuses, criticized indoctrination minister Jason Clare and the government for not doing enough. Hold them to their own standards. That's right. Silence is violence, after all. They have not shown the moral courage to say these university vice chancellors, this is not good enough, she said. The Zionist Federation of Straya chief executive officer Alon Casudo said that there needed to be a national model and university ombudsman to monitor discrimination complaints at universities. Hell yeah. Colleges are already pretty much useless. Let them go all the way, man. Anti-Semitism is not even one of the options that can be ticked when you're putting forward a complaint around against discrimination. Okay. Why the fuck does it matter? When it comes to discrimination, I mean, really, you should it should just be a fill in the blank and then provide evidence or it didn't happen. He added that even when there were policies, he didn't believe the university administrators were enforcing rules. Now you know what it feels like to be on the receiving end of selective enforcement, huh? It sucks, doesn't it? Yeah, when we were covering an earlier story, like remember one of these tiny hats was crying, like, oh, imagine any other group being treated this way. Yeah, meanwhile, white men everywhere looking at that going, oh, shut the fuck up. So I think university administration have the ability to take action, but are simply not doing so. And we need to examine why that's the case. Money. They don't want to expel these students because they still give them money. If they did expel them, the problem will be solved pretty quick, though. Defending universities, the group of 8, Deputy Chief Executive Matthew Brown said the group, which represents Straya's top 8 universities, said universities had to maintain freedom of speech. No. You were not worried about maintaining freedom of speech when it was alt-right Nazis. Now that it's like legit left-wing Nazis, suddenly, oh, we got to let them speak. No. These are the good Nazis. You shouldn't punch these ones. Dr. Brown also said he believed the social cohesion was under threat. What social cohesion? So first off, how are you violating someone's freedom of speech if you prevent them from sabotaging you? Like, are you preventing them from quote unquote speaking when you remove their fucking tent encampment occupation? No, that's completely different. And second off, how can you look at what's going on right now and tell me there's any social cohesion left? Thanks to you guys refusing to crack down on these far-left lunatics sooner, there is no more social cohesion. Anyone who's not a far leftist is disassociating with the far left. They want nothing to do with them. The young people are being radicalized well before they get to university. We need to deal with this at a societal level, he said. Way to pass the buck right there. Oh, we swear we're not the ones who radicalized them. They were already this way. That might be true for some students, but not for most of them. Most of them entered college as regular kids, and they leave as useless, bitter activists. Every time. Yeah, it's not my fault. Yeah, that's all they know how to do is pass the buck. All right, who's the nearest man? I'll blame him. I wonder how many of these campers are even attending the university. I do too. I wonder if they even know what they're protesting or if they're just doing it because they see their friends doing it. I'll be the daycare teachers at the end of things. Well, college is a daycare, but yeah, I think you meant, it's the daycare teachers taking care of like fucking, 1-year-old infants. Yeah, they're the ones that are responsible for the radicalization. It's not college. College is a good boy. It didn't do nothing. It just said, hands up, don't shoot.